Oh, right. Okay. Chair, we're live on YouTube and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commissioners present.
Hikino?
Yeah.
Kanaloa nui a kia kanaloa hauna vela kanaloa ki ala maave ulakala kane ki ala ulakala. Kanaloa noho I ka moana nui moana iki moana o I tai anui tai aiki. Ka mana o kaniu ke kohala hohonu. Hohonu no ki aloha ko Hawaii pai aina Velina. Velina, mahalo for joining us today. Our September 24th halavai for the Kaho'olawe Island Reserve Commission. We would like to open up, if I can invite Kahale and everyone else to pule pu me kako, pule na'au makua. Invite all of our kupuna, all of the different realms to join us. Kukulu kea kanaloa. Hikino? Apule. Na'au makua mai kalahi ki a kalakau, mai ka ho'okui a ka halawai. Na'au makua ia kahina kua ia kahina alo, ia ka akau I kalani. O kiha I kalani, o we I kalani, nunulu I kalani, kaholo I kalani. E ia nā pula pula o kou, o kukulu kea kanaloa. E malama o kou ia maku. E ulu I kalani, e ulu I ka honua, e ulu I ka pai aina o Hawaii. E ho mai ka ike, e ho mai ka ikaika, e ho mai ki aka mai, e ho mai ka maupopo pono, e ho mai ka ike pāpālua, e ho mai ka lana. May we all be enlightened as we step into this space of discussion, of decision-making, of being informed. May we all bring our best selves into this space to make sure that Kaho'olawe thrive. I mahalo every single person who awamo kuleana and holds some bit of this huge work that we undertake. I really appreciate you making time to join us today. With that, can we have a roll call? Roll call, please.
Chair Piscaya,
Aye.
Vice Chair Saito,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang,
Aye.
Commissioner Evans is excused, Commissioner Pang is excused, Commissioner Mata'apa,
Here.
Commissioner Souza.
Yo.
Is that everybody? Okay. Hikino. All right. So item number 2 on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the June 26th commission meeting. I hope you all had a chance to review, and I will entertain a motion.
Chair, I move, this is Dawn Chang, Commissioner Chang. I move that we approve the minutes of June 26, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Souza. Any discussion? Seeing none, I call for the vote.
Chair Piscaya,
Aye.
Vice Chair Saito,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang,
Aye.
Commissioner Mata'apa,
Aye.
Commissioner Souza.
Motion carried. Mahalo. Is there anyone in the community or online in the public, whether present there in our meeting rooms, that have comments to submit to the commission today?
All we have is Keone Fairbanks over here.
Love to hear from you if you have anyone for us today. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4, our action items. A, review and approve legislative positions for the 2025 session.
Okay, I'll take over for that. Thank you very much, Chair. This First one is to review and approve the legislative position for KIRC for the upcoming session starting in January 2025. Just a reminder of what happened last year. We were granted an additional $400,000 in operating funds. That is now a permanent part of our budget. So that long-term request that we've been asking for operating funds, we're not asking for it again since we already got it in the last biannual budget. So this year we're focusing on 3 different asks. The first one is our first and primary one is requesting CIP funding for the phase 2 of the Kaho'olawe Center at Kihei. 4.2, 4.25 is $4.25 million is what we asked for. We're looking for about $350 for design and planning, for the planning, $3 million to complete the construction designs, and then about $900,000 to do part of a construction project at the boathouse. So we're going to be looking at building a small park pavilion, educational pavilion next to the boathouse, and also expanding the boathouse. We're hoping to get funding, federal funding from NOAA to help us with the boathouse construction. And we have a small contract that we're putting out with an architect to refine the pricing, to update the total project price for Kihei, and also to give us an estimate of what the cost is going to be for the pavilion and the boathouse expansion. So that's number one. What's interesting is that last year, in the admin budget, when it went through the legislature, we didn't ask for the CIP funding, but we did do a briefing before the fires on Maui. And WHAM, when they got the budget, they added in the 4.25 for us. So we were scrambling at the very end. I think there was only 2 weeks between when WHAM heard the bill and it went to conference, trying to get finance to support it, but they had already set their dollars already. So it was kind of too late. So this year, we're going to start from the beginning. As soon as this is over, we're going to start talking to finance and see if we can get financial support. I have to also try to get the local representatives support, which is Amato, and get it on one of her CIP projects for the district for Kihei. And then talk to WHAM again and see if they'll support it again. So we're hoping this number, this is what the number that we're tentatively going to put in. I'm hoping there's enough construction dollars in there to cover everything, but I think I can get some more funding for the feds to cover the rest of it. So that's number one. Number two, we still have quorum, right? Okay, yeah, we still have quorum. Okay, number two, we're asking for only 1 new position. In the past, I think we've asked for like 4 new positions, but this year I think we'll just ask for 1. We're asking for an additional Ocean Resource Specialist 2 position. That is, right now, we only have 1 general funded, we have the manager and 1 general funded Ocean 2. We have a second Ocean 2 through grant funding, and we're hoping to get general funding for a permanent Ocean 2 position. And number 3 request is last year, I think when Trustee Souza went for his confirmation hearing, and I think, I forget who else had confirmation hearings, Senator Inouye asked us if we needed money for a boat. So I am working on a bill for her to ask her to submit, since she said she was going to do it. But the third one is to get approval to submit requests for funds for a replacement Ohua. Our estimate for this is $1.2 million for this boat. The pricing that we've been going around, it's going to be about $900. It's just under $1 million to replace the Ohua. Shipping is another $60,000, and then $50,000 for additional equipment such as life jackets, life raft, mooring lines, all the other consumables that we have to put on top of the boat. And then we factored about a 10% contingency for all this. So we're looking at a request of $1.2 million. And we're going to request her to do it outside of the administration budget as a special legislation. So we'll draft up a bill and work with her office to introduce a bill for it. And that's all we're asking for this year.
I love how you say that's all we asking.
It's been a lot more in the past. A lot more.
I know, but it's Whew, okay. Maikai. Does anyone have any questions about these three proposals?
Yeah.
Sure.
Commissioner Mataafa.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Executive Director, for putting this together for us. My question is on whether you have a timeline for the KIRC Education Operations Center. I see that you included planning, design, and construction in your request for, I believe, FY25. Is that correct? Do you plan on getting to construction within the next fiscal year? Or do you anticipate being just at the planning design phase?
So the construction in this request is for a pavilion only for the pavilion next to the boathouse. So that is going to be a very quick design construction project that is going to be part of this bigger development. Right now I'm looking at a 3 biennium timeline. So this request will take this whole biennium, so it'll be the next 2 years of finishing up the planning, doing the construction designs, putting it out for a bid, and then requesting the actual bigger construction money. One of the things that we're going to be looking at the design phase is how can we break up the construction phase. The original timeline we had was to do a one-time build in a 2-year period. So we would do 2 years of the designing phase and the planning phase, because we got most of the planning done, and the conceptual design is done already. We just need to do the drawings and put it out to bid. The construction was estimated to be about 2 years for the whole building, but the amount of money that it's going to cost, and talking to different legislators, we should break it up. So we're looking at in the next biennium, asking for the next phase of construction, which would be the shell of the building and the office, so that we can move in to the site and occupy the site. And then also set up the building so that there are bays where there'll be the museum bay, there'll be the community center bay, there'll be the arts gallery, and all the different other parts that we will be part of this design phase, figure out. And I'm trying to see if I can get other people to pay for the different bays, because I've been talking to the congressionals and with Burt Lum, and there's some possibility that we may be able to get some federal funding to do, like, let's say the museum bay might be a project for the library science program that we've been participating in. They've shown us some interest in developing a Native Hawaiian museum as part of this program. And then we may be able, I still have to talk to your boss, see if the county is interested in supporting the community center portion of it. Because we're planning to have a community center where people can utilize in the Kihei area for community gatherings and stuff like that. So once we get the design going, I'll have something to be able to go take to different other funders and go back to the legislature and get more funding for the actual construction. But I would like to get the construction of the main shell and our office from the state, and then see if I can find other funders for the other portions of it. But I need a design for it, so I need to get through this next step so that I have something in my hand when I go to the different funders and say, hey, we have this concept and design, and here's the layout, and here's the estimated price for this bay or this portion of the program of the building. And I think that will be make it a little easier to build, because right now the total price, if we build the whole building, the construction price is somewhere about 36 million. And I've talked to different construction companies, and architects, they said that is that's a 2018 estimate, 2019, when we did that estimate. They're saying maybe 30% increase since then on construction costs now for Maui. So that puts now the whole price tag up another 10 million. So we're looking around 40 million or so, or 40 to 45 million. So making it a little more acceptable for the state. We're trying to get an estimate for what the shell in our office is going to be, and then see if we get other funders to help with the other portions. But total timeline, probably with this one, 8 years for the whole thing. That means I got to stay around for 8 years. Is that
Oh no, thank you for that
okay?
explanation. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Saito?
Aloha, everyone. Mahalo, Mike, for your review on this. I just wanted to clarify the vessel. Is it the exact same vessel? It would be a duplicate of what Ohua is today.
It's similar, but all the things that we learned. So when we originally designed Ohua, we worked with the boat company. They designed it for like the flat water of the Northwest, the inner, what do they call it? Inner island regional areas, or whatever the type of area that they have up there in the Northwest, in Vancouver and stuff like that. But we found out that the boat is more open ocean than it is on that type of intercoastal waterways. So part of this design is we're hardening up the hull, we're strengthening the keel. It's more robust and more beefed up, because what we've been doing over the years has been doing a lot of welding on the hulls because of flexing going across the channel and going inner island and everything. And also adding but pretty much the same concept. It's landing craft. And I think we're in the estimate we got, instead of the cables, we're looking at actuators. So actual arms. So you don't have a cable failure. You actually have actuators to open the craft. So a couple of things we learned over the years, we're adding in this thing, and hopefully it's a little more robust. Yeah.
Mahalo.
Yeah. We have Commissioner Pang.
I would like to welcome, Commissioner Pang has joined us. Aloha.
Aloha.
We are on action items number 4, A, reviewing the 3 proposals for funding. So if you have reviewed those 3, we're just going through questions for clarification. Any other questions out there?
Oh, I just want to say, maybe maybe Fish and Wildlife might have some funding for part of this building in the future sometime.
We cannot hear you. Shucks.
You can't hear us right now?
No, Benton, I think.
No,
was
he can't.
shut
No,
his-
Benton, we can't hear Commissioner
He
Pang.
looks unmuted, but no sound coming through.
Test.
There we go.
Getting there.
How a test better?
Oh, got it. Yeah,
Mike,
got it.
Okay. So Fish and Wildlife, if you're looking at structures, we don't normally build structures, but we can definitely do programs, restoration, erosion control, coral reef restoration. We can provide funding for that.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
There's also always the Office of Native Hawaiian Relations too. We can ask Stanton.
Yeah. We'll call Stanton.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
So move.
So move Commissioner Souza.
Commissioner Saito, second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote.
Chair Piscaya,
Aye.
Vice Chair Saito,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang,
Aye.
Commissioner Mataafa,
Aye.
Commissioner Pang,
Aye.
Commissioner Souza.
Motion carried. All right, moving on to base camp contract.
Okay, the next action item is to authorize the exec director to extend the Dawson Solutions LLC base camp management contract in the amount of 558,041 and 61 cents for the period of May 15th, 2025 through May 14th, 2026. Last year, we awarded a new base camp management contract. It has base year plus 3 options or 3 extensions. This is extension number 1. Based on recommendations that we've heard through the state, we normally do the base camp extensions later in the fiscal year, but we are doing it earlier so that we can encumber the funds and lock them in before somebody decides to come and grab G funds from everybody in the state. So that's why you'll see these 2 big contracts, because this is outside of my authority to approve on my own. My limit is 50,000. We asked Dawson to submit their pricing for an extension. The result we got back is an extension that is about 24,000 increase from last year. And it's only the only increase is in a 3% salary escalation that was already built into the original proposal for their personnel. All other non-personnel related costs are still the same and no changes. And that's it.
Excellent.
Any questions?
I have a question, Chair.
Go ahead.
So, Executive Director, can you tell me the source of funding to pay for this? Is it still being paid through the state's portion, or is it coming out of the trust fund to pay for
This
the
is
delta?
this is all G funded with a combination of grants. So one of our targets is that we try to every grant we're targeting about what I think 30%, 20 to 30%, right? 20 to 30% of all grants also includes I guess it would be fixed costs or sunken costs or capital costs. So as each volunteer group goes out, we charge a portion of the base camp or the boat operations to each of the grants. So it's a combination of grant funds and G funds. There are no trust funds. There's no non-reimbursable trust funds being used for base camp. Yeah, so it doesn't diminish to our base. It doesn't diminish the balance of the trust fund. Yeah.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so for the facility, sorry, Chair, I have another question. For the
Go ahead,
facility
go ahead.
support workforce, how many positions are in the workforce that make up that 373,000 amount?
Okay. For the food service, there's 1 cook. Then we have the base camp manager. There's, I think, he's the assistant base camp manager, and then 2 other workers. So it's a total of 4 people for the base camp. Oh, and then they also have in their office, they have payroll and a couple other elements that charge some time to the contract.
Okay, so there's a total of how many you would estimate?
4 full-time plus a cook, so 5 total. So the facility support is 4, and then the food service workforce is 1.
Okay, so the 3% salary escalation is across the 3 positions in the facility support workforce?
Four.
Or is it
The
the
four
4?
positions, yeah, yeah,
So all 4 positions, their salaries are increasing.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have no further questions.
Anyone else?
Oh wait, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I lied. Um, so is so when we come back next year for FY27, does their contract extend to that date as well? And can we expect another salary escalation?
I won't know until we approach them on it because it depends on cost of living. Hopefully, cost of living will go down. So it's not an automatic 3%, but it's tied to cost of living, they said. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hoping we may have, I'm hoping some people retire and then the actual rate may go, if people retire, then they reset to a lower salary. So these guys have been there so long that the escalation of their salaries has gone up and up. So if there's retirement and you guys take over, then the salary rates should go down a little bit. We won't know until we ask them again. But we can renegotiate on more costs. I'm hoping to get it more neutral next year.
Okay. And then do you recall from FY24 to FY25, was it still a 3% salary escalation from those 2 years?
It was higher. I thought it was 4. I thought they had
Okay.
a 4% escalation. I'm trying to remember what they had. But they also had less people. We only had 3 in the facility. Now we actually have 4 in this one, and the cost is kind of comparable to where we are. So we're actually doing pretty good, yeah, with more people. And the 3% escalation is the salary is not fully 3%. It's 3% cumulative of salary increase, the G&A, all the percentages add up. So the actual salary may only be 2%, and then 1% is the G&A overhead profit increase that go proportional with the increased salary. Yeah. Oh, and fringe increases. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Director, we don't anticipate any need for that's inflation in any of the lower categories, like the supplies and the food, the cost of food or the cost of supplies.
No, because those are all reimbursable costs. So like the meals, it's the actual cost they give us, and this is their limit. So they can't go beyond 51,000,
Okay.
51.7, yeah. So the other ones that's their rates that they charge. This one is reimbursable with no overhead. Yeah.
Okay, Mike.
I have a question. Mike, the contingencies, what has
Yes.
that gone to in the past?
So there are like additional projects we add on. So like one of the contingencies we're planning for right now is the RO pump on the island is broken. So trying to get it we can't get it replaced. So we're actually looking at them bringing out a guy to rebuild it in place. So that normally is something that's not in we would normally buy something, replace it, but we have to bring a contractor in to rebuild it. We've done things like I've asked them to rebuild a new Clivis or reinstall a new Clivis. We did the dig out at the in Hakuava. They dug out one of the Clivises, so we used contingency on that because they had to bring extra people in to do that. We couldn't do it with just the staff we had. Those kind of projects. Anything that like additional projects that are related to the camp that they got to bring in more manpower to do. Yeah.
You just mentioned Hakuava. I assume these people just worked in base camp on a Kanaio, but they do work on other parts of the island?
Yeah, they hike down the Kaho'olawe and do the maintenance on the Clivis bathrooms down there.
Oh, okay.
So when we had to buy replacement batteries for the Clivis, we took it out of contingency. Or the solar panel needs to be replaced, that comes out of contingency. Yeah, because we don't have a line item for, you know, those kind of repairs. Yeah.
Mhm.
It allows us to do these other things that don't come up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Aloha, Executive Director, and the 20,000 has been a sufficient amount of funds to cover all of those costs.
It's enough for now. We don't want to put more because what it does, it encumbers it, and then we can't, like, let's say we put 10,000 more, that 10,000 I can't touch till the end of the year. And then if they don't use it, to unencumber it and then to use it before the year ends, it's very hard. So if we have to do something else, we'll just either, if it's less than, I forget the number, 15,000, we can just do a credit card charge to it. If it's more than that, then we have to put it on Hypro and bid it out. But it's enough for now without tying up all our funds for the year. Yeah, it's kind of a balance. We have to balance how much we want to put a contingency and how much we want to like have to deal with at the end of the year. Because usually, a lot of times we don't use the contingency; it's just there, and then whatever money is not used in these areas, we unencumber it, put it back into our pot, and then we have like a small window of time to spend it. That's why we try to end these contracts in May. So it still gives us another month before they close all the purchasing down. It gives us about a month so that we can unencumber it and then re-encumber it somewhere else, reuse it somewhere else before the year ends. Yeah.
Mahalo.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Saito,
I'll second. Chair Chang, Member Commissioner Chang.
yes. Second, Chang, any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote.
Chair Cascaya,
Aye.
Vice Chair Saito,
I
Commissioner Chang,
Aye.
Commissioner Mataafa,
Aye.
Commissioner Pang,
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Motion carried. Mahalo. Moving on to item C, awarding the communication management contract.
Okay.
Director?
Item C is to authorize Executive Director to award the communications contract to Harmer Radio and Electronics, Inc. in the amount of $74,876.77 for the period of May 1st through April 30th, 2026. May 1st, 2025 to April 30, 2026. The communication contract was previously awarded to Harmer Radio and Electronics in FY22 and extended 3 times in FY23, 24, and 25. That was the end of our extensions. A new solicitation was released for 2026 and 2 bids were received. The lower of the 2 bids was Harmer Radio and Electronics. The second bid was approximately 50,000 higher. The KIRC staff is recommending awarding the communication contract to Harmer Radio and Electronics based upon lowest price, technically satisfactory offer. Comparing, even though these are 2 different contracts, same scope of work, the current bid is the exact same price. The total price is exact same as the previous last year's price. They decrease in certain areas, and you can see it in the spreadsheet. The increase was in the radio maintenance. This is due to the relay. We have a base camp relay that's on the comms tower. It's aging. The batteries are getting older. They need to be more, they got to go do more maintenance on it. So they're coming more often to do the maintenance. We're trying to get them on island again soon. And in the contingency section, they increased the radio parts, because we're probably going to need an extra radio, couple extra radios. We got more staff now, and also I think the Ohana has asked for radio, so we need to cover some of those things. So, but the total is no change. This is also funded from general funds, and a portion of it was funded by the residual from a IMLS grant. And I think we still got, might still be few more dollars left on that one that we can expend to it.
Any questions? For director? Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Souza.
I'll
Second.
second.
Thank you, Commissioner Chang. With no discussion, call for the vote.
Chair Mascaya,
Aye.
Vice Chair Saito,
Aye.
Commissioner Tang,
Aye.
Commissioner Mataafa,
Aye.
Commissioner Payne,
Aye.
Commissioner
All right, motion carried. Mahalo. Moving on to D. The redescription of our CRPC, our Cultural Resource Project Coordinator position. Take it away.
Okay, this item actually is authorize the KIRC Executive Director to redescribe the Cultural Resource Project Coordinator position description as the Resource Project Management Coordinator. Okay, so here's a little background. The Cultural Resource Project Coordinator has been vacant since 2016 and was previously funded by the KIRC Trust Fund. In 27, the Act 49, 2017, authorized general funds for the 15 filled KIRC positions, which means we did not get any funding for the culture position or any other vacant positions at that time. The KIRC has sought additional funding for the culture position since 2017 and was finally authorized funding in 2019. KIRC staff, along with then KIRC Commissioner Hokulani Holt, interviewed numerous candidates, made one offer, which was eventually declined. Then due to the fiscal impact of the COVID pandemic, in FY21, the FY21 administrative budget eliminated all positions that were vacant for more than 2 years. So that position was vacant as well as our EOD position was vacant. So those got eliminated, which means they don't even exist anymore. So we had to recreate a whole new position again. The KIRC staff then once again began the process to request additional general funds to fill the culture positions in both 2021 and 2022 legislative session. Funding for 2 new positions were eventually authorized in 23 for FY23. The KIRC converted one of the positions to the KIRC Reserve Operations Manager and has had continuous recruitment to fill the culture position. After interviewing a few applicants who applied for the position, one candidate was offered the position last year, but eventually declined the offer. No qualified applicants have applied since the time. We did get one resume, but it was a retiring school teacher who we had to tell her that if you retire from the DOE and you come work for us, you can, we were checking to make sure that I don't think she can draw retirement pay because you're still a state employee. So we haven't heard back from her again. So, and we just checked again, there has been no applicants for this position. So Act 57 of 2019 mandated that the DHERD, the Department of Human Services, evaluate and recommend for elimination or reclassification any position that has been vacant for 2 years. Technically, the culture position has been vacant since 2016, even though the funding was previously eliminated and only been restored. We have been kind of notified that the position could be up for the chopping blocks again this year. And the current prospects of finding a candidate that would be interested in applying and eventually filling the position is pretty slim. And so in order to preserve the authorized and funded position, the staff is proposing to redescribe the position to be able to attract more candidates and hopefully quickly fill the position before the funding is eliminated in the next biennial budget. The revised position is attached. The whole concept is the Cultural Resource Project Coordinator coordinated cultural projects and mostly focused in the cultural program. We're looking at a resource project manager coordinator who will work with all 3 programs, restoration, ocean, and culture, and coordinate or implement programs in all 3 of them. So there still be they'll work directly for me, and they'll be the other half of our grant program. So right now, our public information specialist, Ashley, does the writing for the proposals. Then the report stuff is done through the programs and also Ashley. But what we've been lacking on is the technical analysis and looking at the back half of what has been accomplished and the data, collecting the data and interpreting that data into means that can be recycled back into new grants. So we're looking at this person not only to help out in the field where needed, take leads on projects that don't have leaders, but also to help on helping coordinate the money side and the technical data side. So be able to help with the data gathering and do analysis for data gathering and maybe look at more integrated approach for all this stuff together to help us, kind of look at how we're going to do all this thing. We're still working out exactly what they're going to be doing, but they're going to work for me. And one of the things we're finding on the grants is tracking the requests. Like we'll spend the money for the grant. We have the receipts. We'll submit it in for funding. Is tracking the payment system through, let's say, one of the grant portals. Some grants, we have to go through a portal to submit. Some we send billings. And then we have to track it through fiscal to make sure that the money came in. It gets applied to appropriate special funds accounts, which then have to be transferred into our account, to our trust fund, to reimburse us. So there's a lot of things that I have a lot of different people doing. So this person will kind of keep an eye on all that and make sure that the money comes back, the technical data that is being gathered is recycled back into new grants, and then to help do some of the cultural projects that needs to be helped out there or take leads, but also not just be dedicated to the cultural program. I guess you guys understand. It's kind of hard to describe exactly what they're doing. It's kind of a new thing we're doing. And hope to apply project management principles like project management scheduling, timelines, critical path, stuff like that. So have some experience in project management, budgeting, helping with the budgets, stuff like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think on the resource management side, most things sort of fall into the 2 categories of natural and cultural resources. It's a natural resource until someone manipulates it, it becomes a cultural resource. And in the general community, when people hear culture or cultural specialists, they think of Hawaiian practices that are associated with, Oiwi, Kanaka, those kinds of things. So they don't realize that the term cultural is a technical term. And when we have these 2 programs side by side, there should be an equity in support and resources, because the integrity of the entire management of Kaho'olawe hinges on sort of that these are all the resources are being evaluated and treated and managed sort of on the same plane. And I know that statewide, I'm sure Commissioner Chang can add to how the struggle we are having statewide with recruiting and finding qualified people to staff or to work in this sector. And so anyway, I'm just sharing a little bit of that background for the rest of commissioners to sort of process what this transition means. We're considering sort of broadening the scope of this position, but also recognizing it's one position that has been dedicated to cultural resources. And we have all these natural resource sort of positions and programming and funding in place. Is compromising and expanding that almost. I don't know what it is. Let's talk about it. So anybody have any questions on Mana'o on this?
It's been a struggle because we've had this conversation before, is that trying to fill the position as the way it's described is difficult. So hopefully by redescribing it in such a sense, this person will spend a lot of time in the cultural program because there are a lot of tasks to be done and there's nobody else to do it. So this position will cover those tasks, but to make it a broader position, they will do a little bit of everything in other programs too. So, and mostly on like a management aspect of it. So, yeah.
Chair, if I can comment, I mean, you're right. We are struggling with filling positions, but we're also moving in the direction of having better coordination and collaboration with respect, at least in DLNR. The integration of all the different divisions working together. So in my view, this approach does seem to be consistent with that integrated approach of management, as well as it also seems to be an efficient way of monitoring, especially grants, that may make you more, that may make better position KIRC to get more grants. And, to have someone that focuses on that and coordinates that, I think helps for administrative efficiency, but program coordination. So I initially, when I read this, I was a little concerned that we were doing away with a cultural specialist. But in further reviewing this, it does become clear that this position is designed to be more of an integration of the various programs together. So I think I realize that when, from a personnel standpoint, we have to adjust our job descriptions to fit the needs. And sometimes things have changed. So we have to make the job descriptions a lot more relevant to today's needs. So I am very supportive. My inclination is to support this recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah. One other thing to add is that my thought was, as this person works with the other programs, it is their means of recruiting those programs to support what needs to be done in the culture aspect. Because a lot of the tasks that needs to be done is stuff that other programs can help do. So by also being in, let's say, the natural resource restoration or the ocean restoration, they can recruit or help turn their programs or help guide their programs to support the cultural projects that need to be done too. So by having it integrated into the other programs and the reserve operations, it kind of recruits other people to help, because this person's not going to do all the work. It's really basically having everybody else understand, hey, this needs to be done. I need the support of the 2 restoration specialists to come do this for this access kind of thing. So, yeah.
Mata'afa.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So do you think by redescribing the position, it'll become a lot more competitive when people look and try to apply for the position? I think your answer might be yes. And then a follow-up to that, does the salary change from what it was previously to what the proposed redescription is going to be?
Oh, I missed the last part. You froze a little bit.
Is
Yeah.
the salary the same?
Oh, the salary. Yeah. So.
Does the salary remain the same?
The salary is 20% higher than what the old position was. And most of it is because they gave me more money. The ledge gave us higher funding for it, but it is higher. It's a higher salary than what the previous
Announcement.
position was. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you put culture in the front of a job description. We get a lot of people don't even want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I think this is a better way to get more people interested. And I mean, I actually had a good person, a really good candidate who could probably do this work, but she's taking, I'll talk about it in the ED report, but she'd rather be the natural resource specialist. Because we have an open one coming up. So
Saito.
Aloha. First question is, who was involved in the redescription?
me,
Just you.
just
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Just you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, are there any elements of the cultural resources position that were taken out of in this redescription?
The job stuff, there's still like elements. I mean, I increased the other duties as assigned from 5% to 10% because I can always throw in some of the things that the culture position used to do. But I'm probably going to take out, like, we used to have the culture position was the single point of contact with the Ohana. And we've been doing very well with the volunteer coordinator being that point of contact. And then I've been dealing with the higher level issues. And then we took out the, I think I took out some of the detailed things, requirements, like you don't have to have a Hawaiian cultural degree, but we're going to be looking for one that has some kind of cultural background, right? So we're going to be, that is something as we hire, we're going to be looking for, just to make it more open. But we did say that it can have like experience, we just said a 4-year college degree, and then we'll take a look at what people apply that we want, just to make it a broader acceptance. But we do have requirement that you have to have a knowledge of Hawaiian natural history, Hawaiian resource management, broad level ocean native, must have a working knowledge of a broad level of natural ocean and native Hawaiian cultural resource management principles and practices based upon the background professional training experience. Understand the history and the culture of the reserve and knowledge of Hawaiian history, language, culture, traditions. Normally, we don't have that in the knowledge section for, like, let's say, natural resource specialists. They don't have to have like a history, culture, and language familiarity in them. So we've kind of extracted and blended a more technical natural resource management position and the cultural resource project coordinator position we had before. Try to keep like the best of the two and try to make it not so daunting in the write-up. But really, it's the job description and what they actually do. The job description is just a start to get the people in the door, and then what we tell them to do is a whole nother animal sometimes. You didn't hear that.
Okay, I have a few more questions. And it really has to do, I know it sounds tedious and technical, but again, I'll come back to the term cultural resources. It's connected to the archaeology, to the
Yes.
protected sites. And so in the absence, if we're saying we're going to remove sort of even having that background or that expertise as it translates into all these other sort of collaborative efforts and project planning, what I guess my first question is, would this person then have access to training, whether it's historic preservation training or something where even if we don't have a candidate like walking in with that background, that you already build up a development plan, because that is a really critical aspect that goes with the land management and transition with continued cleanup, making sure that all of our plant projects, our restoration projects are also have that lens of all the archaeological and historical sites. And I know it's not there right now, but also this is the opportunity for us to bring that expertise back to management and planning. And second, like, if not, do you have a plan to build out a very maybe formal structure for subject matter experts, where this person then is coming back and relying specifically on people who have that knowledge? If, you know, we can do, either you're walking in as the expert, you know, whether it's a marine biology background so that I can help manage this, or I might just be a coordinator, but I work with other marine resource specialists to then make sure we're developing in a very informed way.
Yeah. So I know that whoever comes in is not going to have the experience, is not most likely not going to have that 6E 106 experience, even if they come from a Hawaiian cultural practice background.
Yes.
They don't have that experience. So, you know, the combination of what is provided by SHPD for 6E community training, they have online stuff. But I also have a couple other people that I have talked to over the years to help, to go to questions like we have a couple people on Maui that, you know, when it comes to 6E and 106 stuff, we call, and we've had on contract before. So I would like to, you know, have this person relate to that person. And then I also have some former SHPD people who used to work for me. I have them on my speed dial, like Nancy McMahon is always on my speed dial. So she also have talked to us about, helping stuff out. I have some contract people. I also have, I worked very closely with some other archaeology companies before who are always a phone call away that are willing to help out, training people.
So Mike Ka'i, because those are some of the elements that I see removed from the original to this one, was that background. And so if we're taking it out, I want to make sure that while that's your, you've built Pilina and have this network, I want that to make sure that that's formalized so that the day you're not here, that position is not, I want to set up for success. So I want to make sure all that support and it's detailed to the point that that's an entitlement. When you step into this position, you know you have access to this kind of expertise tied to the position, not just to the informal relationships, which are important. But we found every time we work in government, you see where, all those kinds of, I won't say handshake deals, but when people disappear or vacate their roles, then the system falls apart. And I just want to build resiliency and really make sure that this is articulated in writing of how we're going to make sure this person succeeds. I want to recruit someone who's not going to be in over their head and a year later walk away because they just don't feel like they have all the tools to do the job, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
No, and Mikiela, can I just chime in? So I am trying, at DLNR, we have weekly administrators meetings. And so Michael, all agencies, including those administratively attached. So like Michael, Ahamoku, everybody, they sit in. I think the value of being part of DLNR is you have access to all of our internal resources, whether they're to SHPD, whether they're to CWORM, whether they're to DAR, whether they're to DOFA. I would urge, Michael to feel free, and he does. He calls upon them. We share resources. When a division has excess money, we make them available to everybody within the department. But I would also welcome a very intentional, deliberate training program. And so we also now have a new SHPD administrator, Jessica Puff, who was just recently appointed as the administrator. So we are trying to encourage a very a systematic training program So should that be opened at SHPD, we will make sure that KIRC is also on that, those opportunities are provided to KIRC. But you should KIRC should feel free to reach out. You have the turtle nesting, call upon our DOFA and our DoCare staff who have internal expertise. So again, I think that is the value of being part of DLNR is you have access to our internal expertise who are some of the best literally, not only in the state, but around. So, you know, I make that open invitation to KIRC. And like I said, Michael participates in our weekly meetings. But again, if there are specific areas of expertise, like SHPD, please feel free to reach out, and when they have training programs, to have your staff participate in those as well.
Micah, mahalo. I just wanted it all said on the record so that people who don't attend know that we have these resources and we have this network. But I know that sometimes we walk into these meetings with a lot of personal background, but these discussions and the transparency we can provide our community who might be reviewing our minutes and our recordings later can also have access to that information. Okay.
So it's, you know, it's this area is very difficult to recruit. I've even taken an intern that I've worked with for 6 years. I've got her get her college degree. I sent her to work for archaeologists, and I told her if they even suggest that can you help us with 106 paperwork, say yes. And she's been doing this stuff, and she still doesn't want to take this job over here because it's the idea of having to be the center, the point person for a cultural resource for the whole Kaho'olawe. I think it's daunting for people.
It is, and that's why just making sure we articulate that there is support, that you don't feel like you're coming to because it feels or sounds like a one-man team. And that Kuleana is so huge. In our imagination, right? So if we can continue to say like, no, and here's what we have in place and you have access to it, even as we are out recruiting and sharing, you know, in our communities, the description of this position, that even us knowing that helps maybe encourage somebody to explore this opportunity.
So the way we wrote it is kind of take that that singularity point person off of the description and make it more of a broader team player description. So it's not as daunting as like, I am now, you are the one person responsible for all things cultural resource and cultural protocol related for the island. It makes it way too daunting.
Commissioner Mata'afa, did you have any extra mana'o?
Not necessarily. I'm just actively listening to all the different discussions. And I get the strategy that's trying to be employed here, so I can appreciate that. And I think for some of your concerns, Chair, I think broadly when I was looking at the position description, it kind of encompasses a lot of what you're talking about, but just in a broader way that will allow the executive director to find somebody to actually apply for this position. And then once they get on board, I think that's where a lot of the tutoring, the mentoring, and being engaged with all the different cultural stewardship organizations comes into play if they don't necessarily have that off the bat. So I think it encompasses a lot of what you mentioned earlier, Chair. And I do just want to acknowledge and get the larger strategy from Executive Director on what he's trying to do to fill the position, noting that there aren't people currently who are willing to apply for this position the way it was currently written. So just acknowledgement all around.
Oh, Chair, one other thing is the PD is not set in stone. This is my first draft. So if you guys have things you want me to add in, I can still work on that. The motion is actually just the authorization to redescribe it. And this was my first cut of the redescription of the PD. So if you have any other inputs, you can just send it to me. We'll work on that, and then I'll still have to send it in to personnel for them to authorize it, that it meets the salary level that we're looking at, and then get the authorization to make the change and everything. So I think this whole process will probably, I'm hoping to get it probably at least 6 months, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Sometimes,
Hopefully
yeah,
faster.
probably about 6 months, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Hopefully get
Saito?
done by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah. So I'm optimistic it should.
Okay, any more? Saito?
Just Mike, I think just given that, can you just send us the original cultural resource position just so that we can look at both
Sure.
for input, potential input?
Yeah. I'll email it to all the commissioners. Just remember, email me directly and don't CC everybody, your comments. Because
Okay.
that would be a, what is it called? Communication?
Sunshine.
Sunshine?
Yeah. It would be a sunshine law. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Mahalo.
Mata Alpha, one more. Manao?
Just one more question. Executive Director, this is you mentioned this was your first draft. Has the Department of Human Resources looked at this yet?
No, not yet, because I can't show it to them until you guys authorize me to actually do it. Authorize me to do the redescription, and then I would send it. Probably I'll just send them the final, what we want to do. If there's any comments and anything you want to add in, I'll send that, because if I send them this draft and then I send them something else, they're going to put it in, it starts again in the pipeline.
Mhm.
So better I just send it one time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for consideration right now was just entertaining whether or not we should redescribe this position, and if executive director could rewrite it. And so if anyone, I will entertain a motion on this topic.
I'll move that we accept staff's recommendation to approve the redescription of the Cultural Resource Project Coordinator.
Second, Commissioner Pang.
Okay. Terry, can you read back what the actual wording of that motion was?
Authorize the KIRC Executive Director to redescribe the Cultural Resource Project Coordinator position description as the Resource Project Management Coordinator.
Okay.
I didn't include the last words. Okay.
I'm just making, wait, so
Yeah.
let me just for clarification, Commissioner Chang, is that accurate? The accurate
Yes.
motion?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes. I was doing a shortcut, but thank you for the clarification. Yes.
just keeping us all out of jail, making sure. And I just for clarification, Commissioner Pang, that is the motion you intended to second.
That's correct.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote, please.
Chair Vizgaya,
Aye.
Vice Chair Saito,
Aye.
Commissioner Chang,
Aye.
Commissioner Mataafa,
Aye.
Commissioner Pang,
Aye.
Commissioner Souza.
Mahalo, motion carries. All right, on to item number 5, our executive director's report.
Okay, thank you. First one is an executive director report is our FY25 expenditure report, which is attached in the back. This shows up to the month of August. 2 months, so 2 months straight line expenditure would be 8.5 times 2, 16, 17%. So we are, for personnel wise, we're pretty much on track where we are for expenditures. The only one that is showing a little bit high, and it's just because the way it's ocean, which non-personnel costs is at 61%. And that's because their current grant expires at the end of next month. So that's why most of their budget is being expended, so it's being, spent out. We're looking good on spending for the whole fiscal year. We will be probably submitting a revised budget in our next commission meeting, which is probably January. A couple items we'll be adding in. We have a new grant for $100,000 from the Green Maui County. Is it Maui?
County of Maui.
County of Maui. So we'll be adding that funding in. We'll also have to reallocate. The Department of Health grant has been shifted over a little bit. We have not started that, so we'll have to shift fundings back a little bit. Also, we've got an additional $150,000 from OCCL. I don't know if that will appear on this grant because we're on our budget, because we're going to be utilizing that for coastal restoration, but it's going to be paying for items that right now our rough estimate is going to be new items, more plants, a chipper to get rid of all the kiawe on the coastline. That's kind of the big items, and also some new camera systems. One of the things OCCL is a Office of Coastal
Ocean and Coastal
Conservation,
OCCL.
Coastal Conservation.
Lands. Coastal Conservation Lands.
Yeah, so they offered they're going to be giving us $150,000 for coastal restoration projects. One of the things that they're excited about our projects is the monitoring and the data gathering that we're doing. So one of the things that we're going to be using the funds for is to get more cameras on the beach and to come up with some kind of a digital monitoring system with data gathering, maybe like time lapse or some AI generated processing of the film to show the planting areas and how they help with the beach restoration and the impact of like the storms, how they help mitigate those storm damages. So we're going to be using that funds for that. Long range schedules attached to. I'll talk about some things that are happening next summer that we're working with PKO, but nothing really too big coming up soon. The month of October is going to be a very busy month. We have 2 back-to-back accesses. We have the intercession ones that we normally do, which is Kamehameha Schools Kumu from Oahu, and then Nalu Studies, which is another school group. And then we've tagged on another access so that we could support the rain ceremonies on island and also KS Maui group. And then we're going to take the month of November off because we're doing a double in October, and we're back to December and January. We're going to start up later in the month so we can have some time off for a holiday season. Commissioners update. Commissioner Evans' seat, her current term expired on June 30th of this year, but she can remain as a holdover for 1 year or until the next legislative session ends. We have sent a letter to her asking to formally state if she's going to intend to renew for a second term or not. She has indicated that she is not renewing for a second term. We have communicated to the boards and commissions that she is not intending to seek a second term. And we have also communicated with the PKO, who is the nominating authority, to begin the process for appointing or to recommend to the governor a new appointment to fill the seat. And we'd like to, we're asking them to start early so that we can get it on the schedule and get confirmation hearings in the next session coming up. Yeah. Same with Commissioner Pang. I've talked to Commissioner Pang. His term also expired on June 30th, but he can remain as a holdover until the next session ends. I believe the nominating authority, which is the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, will be sending a recommendation to the governor. I've also told the governor's office same thing, that he will be seeking a second term, and the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs will be sending in a recommendation for reappointment, I believe is the right term. Yeah. Anything Commissioner Pang, update on that process for you?
That's correct. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. For KIRC staff, the volunteer coordinator, we have hired a new volunteer coordinator and started last week, right? Last week. Ross Kamimoto. He's from Eastern Washington, but has been living on Maui for the past 8 years. He's slowly taking over from Caroline, who is our interim volunteer coordinator. She's also a ocean resource specialist she's been doing a great job working with the Ohana on their PKO accesses and our volunteer trips. So he will be taking over that process of the volunteer coordinator and then also spending time on island with the volunteers. We're announcing that Lyman Abbott, Natural Resource Specialist 3, is planning to retire at the end of October after 21 years with the KIRC. So we've got authorization to start filling the position, to hire and to have somebody to fill the position once the position is vacated. We did make an offer to a Kalea Paiva, who is a recent UH Manoa NREM, which is the Natural Resource Environmental Management graduate. She has her bachelor's degree from UH in NREM, Natural Resource Management, her associate's degree in Hawaiian culture from Maui College. She is a King Kekalike immersion graduate, and she grew up coming to island with Hawaiian Canoe Club as a child, with paddling to the island. So originally she applied for the volunteer coordinator position and took a job somewhere else. And then we've called her up, and we wanted to get more local Maui kids working on island. We don't get as many locals kids applicants. And once we saw her application, she has all the great degrees and the background. We had Lopaka, who used to be her coach, to call her up. Lopaka White used to be one of her coaches. Call her up and say, "Hey, you got to come work for us." So we convinced her. So
What is her name?
Paiva. So she's leaving Hilt.
Oh, no. Oh, it's a
So we
small world.
Yeah, we stole her from Hilt. But she only had a 1-year job anyway, because it was a grant base. So yeah.
Very good, very good.
So we're offering
Lucky
her.
us, lucky us.
The exciting part is her husband is just getting out of the Navy. He's a CB, construction mechanic. And Dawson's interested in the husband. Because it's hard to find construction mechanics that are not stolen by all the big construction companies in Hawaii. Construction mechanics do everything from vehicles all the way to heavy equipment. So yeah, and I know those guys very well because they used to work for me when I was in the CBs. Yeah. Okay. Update on infrastructure. We have this Basecamp CIP. We're going to be starting soon on the actual projects. Right now, the first project that they're going to be working on is the roof repairs and the elastomeric coating for the roofs to stop the rusting and also to be able to gather water off of it. So that's the first phase. And also the replumbing of the base camp. So one of the things we're actually looking at in this CIP that I still have to talk to the base camp manager about is we do have contingency in this project. And when we came on, in my email I sent to you guys, when we arrived on island last Wednesday, they found some kind of a leak in the main piping system, and we lost the main potable water tank. So one of the things we're looking at is I want to talk to them about having a secondary tank on backup that is completely separated from the main pipeline that we can put on the main pipeline, but it would be, right now, all our potable water is in one big storage tank, and we have the water we make is in these totes, 500-gallon totes. So we actually had 5 of those totes sitting filled from last month that weren't transferred to the big storage tank. So when we lost all the water, we still had about 2,500 gallons in the portable totes standing by. So we could continue on the access, but because of that viral infection or the infection or illness that people were having, we decided to shut the camp down early and bring everybody off the island. Dawson is also out there. They're going to bring an electrician to take a look at our camp electrical overhead distribution. The camp was actually built with the idea of having a lot higher power generation for more industrial type of evolution. So we actually have three-phase power transmission through the camp, which is not really needed. And when we lost one of our transformers, trying to find a replacement three-phase transformer for the camp was very difficult. So we're looking at maybe should the whole camp be rewired to go single phase 120 or maybe still 440, but single phase, and change the distribution around a little bit, make everything cleaner. Try to, like, we've been patching, just like how we did the water system. It's all been patches and replacements. So we have everything from 2-inch, 1-inch, half-inch, all kind of different plumbing. Maybe the whole electrical distribution system should be redone. And we do still have 130,000 that has been encumbered, but not dedicated to any project, on hold for CIP. So we're looking at the different projects of what could we use the rest of the funding. And that could be one of the main ones, is to improve our electrical distribution in the camp. Last item I got is a project that I've been talking with PKO. We're looking at next summer to dedicate 3 of our KIRC accesses for a MUA rebuilt project. So in Honakanaya, there is the start of a traditional platform. Part of it, so the push now is that as we mark the 50th anniversary of the landing in Kuhe'ia, of the protest landings, how we could memorialize that. And one of the project is to finish the MUA and get the MUA ready. So we're going to be working with the Ohana. We've so far dedicated 3 accesses for Ohana groups. So we have one coming up in, I believe, May. And then the Hawaii Canoe Club will be in July. And then there will be one later in the summer that will be dedicated for the Ohana. Will be selecting the members and working on the MUA. And then also we've agreed that the KIRC volunteers, when they come out to the island, we'll try to dedicate half a day or a day to help support whatever needs to be done for the MUA. And the Ohana will be sending out a project manager with us to help coordinate those activities in Honakanaya. And that's all I have for my ED report. If there are any questions?
I have a question. Mike, you talked about the water system at base camp, the electrical, looking at rewiring or new design. Are those things that fall under that contingency, or is this under something different that you pay for those types of planning and design?
Okay, so we have a $500,000 CIP base camp contract that's separate from all the base camp operation. That was funding that was allocated to us. It was a couple of years, 3 years ago. I think 3 years ago, it kind of just appeared into our budget. Might have been a going away present from one of the senators. So we got the funding. We contracted it out. It has right now under scope in the first half of the funding is the roof, the plumbing, the boardwalk. I forget what the fourth one was. There's like 4 items that are under the initial funding of the contract. And then that was only like 132,000. So we still got like another 120 or so that was still available. So we had a blanket encumbrance. It's still available for us. We're looking for projects. that would be able to utilize those funds. And so right now, the electrical distribution was not under the original scope, but it could be utilized under the balance that we have in the CIP. So that's where we are. So it's CIP funding, completely separate from our general operating funds that we get.
Okay, thank you for clarification.
Yep.
Any further questions, commissioners?
Okay.
Okay, seeing none. Moving on.
Okay, program updates. First one is Matt. Let's see. The first one is MLS 4. Anybody there? Oh, who's going to report on that over in the office?
That's Matt's. I think Ashley, you kind of have a handle, yeah, since they had requested the photos.
Hello, commissioners. Yeah, just a quick update on the IMLS 4. We just wrapped up the final reporting for that. So they will, they gathered our reports and documents and photos, and they're hoping to feature that in their press releases and future publications and social media. And then, yeah, as far as the billing and reporting, that's Matt's.
Yeah, so this is going to be it's going to be in the packet until we've received all the funding. We had billed for all the expenditures. It's still, I think the money has been received into a special fund. It still needs to be transferred into a trust fund. So until all the dollars are transferred to a trust fund, we'll keep reporting on this one. Oh, and I just got a text. This is going back to the base camp. This is the first salary increase in 7 years, according to Dawson. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, next one is IMLS 5, which is going mobile and enhancing the technological infrastructure of Kaho'olawe. Carmela.
Hello, commissioners. Carmela, known as a GIS IT specialist. There hasn't been much changes since the last update. We're still getting users used to the system. With higher security network comes higher levels of authentication. So users are getting used to having to, change their passwords and learning and creating, having to have additional passwords. We're still working out kinks on compatibility with some apps. Specifically, our PV camera app, we've not been able to monitor the cameras on Kaho'olawe from the office. So we're still working with Deal on our IT. So over the course of the remaining months for this grant, it's just working out these transitions and changes and maybe making small purchases to get certain things to work. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next one is our HTA grant, sharing the stories of Kaho'olawe past and present, future. Ashley is will reporting that.
Hello, commissioners. Okay, so we have spent and received and spent the total amount of $35,500 for this Hawaii Tourism Authority grant. Few updates. We have installed in the exhibit a TV display showcasing the future Kihei Education Operations Center with Mike's voiceover, and that will be at the exit, the end of the exhibit. So once they walk through, we'll have this call of donation, call to action for donation for the center. And then I included a little mock-up of what this wall, we're renovating it, and we're waiting on the final graphic boards and the photos to be delivered to the Ocean Center. So I'm hoping in 3 to 4 weeks, the exhibit will be completed. And I'm hoping that, when you guys make it over there, you're able to visit the whole exhibit and see the new display of the current restoration projects. So that's what these photos showcase, the native planting projects, the marine debris removals, and then that video display of the Kihei Education Center.
And if any commissioners is on Maui or plan to visit Maui and have some time, and want to go see the exhibit, give us a call first, and then we will call over to Mount Ocean Center to get you in, because we have an agreement with them that they'll allow people for us to get in and take a look at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because I heard you're going to Maui,
I am going.
but I don't think you have time, huh?
I don't think so, but I'll be back there.
Yeah, okay.
So thank you.
And that's all. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Next one is the Naka Coastal and Upland Wetland Restoration Project. Is Paul there in the office? Who's in the office?
Hey, Mike, Paul
Yeah.
will stay.
Oh, okay. How about one of the restoration guys?
Out in the field.
'Cause I see Jamie on. No.
Jamie, yeah, maybe Jamie.
Okay, well, I'll do Paul's one then. Okay, so right now they've been working on mostly Keiki work site. They've been removing buffalo grass and other type of weeds and kiawe trees. So, one of the things I showed to Mike Kane, who is OCCL, was we looked at Google Earth, and you can see where there's kiawe trees and where the open gap where the kiawe trees were removed. And in the open gap where the kiawe trees were removed, you see the photo here of the Cressa, and also Akiaki has filled in naturally. Like a lot of this stuff wasn't even planted. It just naturally fills in and stabilizes the dune. So one of our biggest push, and what he was very excited about for funding, is by removing kiawe through this coastal area, it will naturally repopulate itself back into these grass dunes and stabilize the sand in the area. The area underneath the kiawe trees you can still see the sand and everything kind of blowing around under there, but none of the grasses were growing under the trees. So very exciting, and he was very excited with the funding. And you see the little baby chipper that we have, it has a hard time with the bigger pieces. So we had a larger chipper at one time, but it burned in the fire because we stored it up at the LZ Squid up there. So we're looking to get a bigger chipper, and because of the size of the chipper, we have to get a heavy lift helicopter, and that's why some of the costs was prohibitive until we were offered the funds to bring that out to the island. Okay. Palapalo Kanaloa. I see Jamie. You want to talk about it? Is he on? Hey, Dean, is Jamie in there with you, or is he in his office?
I don't think he's in the office, Mike.
Oh, I get him online. He's online.
Pakawingo just check right now.
Okay. We'll skip that. Let's go on to Cobble Hill Watershed, DOH6. This write-up is just the plans for the project. We still have not gotten a contract or MOA with DOH. We're getting closer. Is Lyman in the office with you guys, Dean?
Lyman called in sick today, Mike.
Oh, okay. Oh, restoration. We're still waiting for a MOA or MOU with DOH. We're getting close. They said they've been busy writing agreements for Lahaina.
Maui.
Yeah, for Maui. So once they get through that, they hopefully will be able to write ours, and then we'll get started. So we're pushing this back 6 months already. So, okay. Jamie, are you on? I saw his sound go.
Hi, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. You want to give an update on the common law?
Yes. So right now we have 3 nurseries. One in Hana. We have the Olinda Rare Plant Facility, and then we have the one at Kaho'olawe Farms. Currently there are 16 plants, and there's some new funding to build a nursery just for the Kaho'olawe specimen at the Olinda Rare Plant Facility. So we're excited about that.
Do you know who funded that?
I believe that's through the state.
Oh,
The state of Hawaii. I am not positive on that though, but we're still seeking, more funding for the other nurseries as well, and to
okay.
expand into new nurseries as well.
Yeah, and then you can see the photos in here of all the ones that are up at Olinda. Looking really nice. And the Kahanu Garden ones too.
Yeah, sorry, I caught a little bug over the weekend, so
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the CWC, the National Coastal Wetland Conservation Grant, Dean.
Hey, good afternoon, commissioners. I'm here to provide you an update for the CWC grant. Yeah, this is a grant. We just got the extension for. It's currently is running through November of 2024. And we basically hit every milestone and major reportable issue here. Everything from the hiring of the position to the plants in the ground, to even the outreach aspect, as well as area of improvement and invasive removal. The reason for the request for extension is in regards to the position. We started this grant on time, but the time it took to fill the ORS 2 position took a couple of months. So we're 2 months behind on funding. So that's the reason for the extension on that. As you can see, we've spent what we spent, we've billed, and what we received. We're still got collect some more money to close before the closeout, which will be end of November this year. Yeah, that's it. We continue to plant plants through this grant, through the funding of this grant, and because of the bidding for the plants that came in so low, it looks like we're going to get close to the obligation for 20,000 plants to go into the ground, and it's looking like we're going to get close to 30,000 actually, because of we got such a great price from our vendor. That's basically it for the CWC. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer. If not,
Okay. You got IMLS 6, developing
Yep.
a digital application for the collection of
Dean, I got one question. The Coastal Wetland Conservation Grant, you got the restoration going in. The picture shows, ponding water. Have you seen any birds coming back?
no, so not to this wetland yet. So part of this grant is actually, that we do field surveys. We have had success in seasonal ponding of the water, but no wetland birds in this specific wetland area that we're restoring. Hopefully, though, soon.
Yeah.
Okay, IMLS 6.
Yep, IMLS 6. This grant project runs from July 2023 to June 2026. It's funded by the Institute of Museums and Library Services. It's just under $100,000. Basically, it's to create a database for observations to be shared between the KIRC and the PKO. Also, it's to create ability for accesses for protect Kaho'olawe Ohana accesses into Honakanaya that will be funded. So on the KIRC side, we have begun and we've begun to fill the database. It's being actively shared with the PKO representatives. A major milestone that we accomplished during this reporting period is we submitted for funding of a little over $14,000. Should be receiving that shortly, hopefully. And we attended the Hawaii Conservation Conference funded through this grant. This grant actually is unique in the sense that it mandates that we attend the conference through its funding. But yeah, that's basically it for this grant, the IMLS 6 grant.
Okay, and I think our last update is about the last month, last commission meeting, the commissioners approved the authorization for us to investigate a turtle, potential turtle nest on island, and this is the results of that investigation. And Dean, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess first off, what I want to do is thank all the commission members for supporting this motion to positively confirm or not confirm through that motion the turtle nest. It was a huge success because of it. So thank you guys. What I want to do is thank the commission very much for being supportive of this. The outcomes I'm sure you have read or can read already, but I just want to touch upon some of the highlights. Obviously, first and foremost, it was a huge celebration or enjoyment to know that this being a successful nesting and hatching in Honakanaya on the beach of Honakanaya is the first documented and confirmed Honu nesting on Kaho'olawe that I have found through my research. There have been a couple mentions, but nothing confirmed. And as Ashton says she's heard of it through a written interview with Uncle Les, he says he saw turtle droppings. That's another thing I couldn't neither confirm what he meant by that. It was thought, I don't know if he meant eggs or not, but nothing was confirmed. So this is the first confirmed documented turtle nesting, and which is really exciting, as I'm sure like was shared last by Chair Piscaya about the situation of loss of habitat in other areas where now these Honu are starting to look and explore for new areas, and we potentially now becoming a site for future and more nestings is very exciting. One other thing anecdotally that occurred because of your approval that led to another positive was just by chance, while we were there with the right people and representatives in place, there was an unexpected hatching that occurred overnight. And so we were able to then excavate that nest as well. And that nest, that second nest, let me look at my notes here, was a total of 71 eggs. And because of excavation, we were able to save 2 babies that were in the land, wouldn't have made it if we had not excavated. And with those 2 being released, successfully released, it was 100% success rate of a nest. Speaking to all people involved that have had the experience of excavations like this, they said they've never had or seen 100% success rate. It was mentioned this is a smaller nest though of 71 eggs, albeit, but still yet 100% success is something to definitely be happy about. But yes, again, thank you very much. And also working, again, thank you for the recommendation of working with Lopaka Awohi. It was really good to work and reconnect with him. He and I have been talking fairly frequently ever since about a lot of things, not just the Honu nest, but other potential projects as well. So that's a quick recap. Thank you very much.
Okay, Chair. That is it for our commission meeting for all the agenda items. If you have any questions, or we're going to be looking at probably January for the next commission meeting, probably right after the ledge session starts, so we know what bills are introduced, and we can brief you on any of the bills that have been introduced to the session. We will be looking at probably a budget adjustment because of the new grant coming in, and also approval for PKL dates for the upcoming year. I have the dates already, but we were on a wait off since we have approval all the way through to February of next year. So we'll hold off till January, and hopefully we'll have a new position filled. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I do have a video of the release of those 2 turtles that they.
Oh, yeah. If you want to see, we have a video of the turtles being released. So if you want, we can play that.
Yeah.
You want to do a share screen? So if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
See, they showed me how to do this last time. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, the suspense.
No.
Okay,
Ah,
here we
you
go.
got it.
Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there
Okay.
music to it?
There is some sound.
Okay.
They're just talking in the background, but
Okay.
I'll go ahead and play this.
And they're all. Ay, ay, ay. One is a lot faster than the other one. Oh my, that's amazing.
Perfect water. It's not like big breaks or anything.
Yeah, good thing. Kaho'olawe.
Where'd the other one though?
They did have to help this one out.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
pretty tired.
Oh, no obstacles.
They had to walk them out. Like Hot Wheels come out there.
And that's Irene with Noah. She was on the permit.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, mahalo.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, mahalo.
What a wonderful note to end on, the promise of new life and all of our collective efforts, they're worth it. And it's beautiful to celebrate the little successes. We'll take them, every single one. Mahalo everyone for your time and energy, and see you at the next one. Oya ihola, mahalo.
Aloha.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Like,
Lola
kind of
Maui, Kanaloa.
my,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we're adjourned. So I think, I don't know if the YouTube is still on, but I did have concerns about this recent outbreak.
Oh, give me a call then. Yeah, because we're
Okay.
still on YouTube live.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Mahalo.
Did you guys check with DOH too?